Was I wrong to pull the rug out from under my daughter's fairytale wedding? Tell me honestly, because even now, 6 months later, I can still hear the echo of her icy, condescending voice over the phone from Paris, telling me, her own father, that I was an embarrassment and not sophisticated enough to attend her wedding, the wedding I was paying for. This isn't just a story about a canceled check. It's a brutal, deeply personal tale about classism, snobbery, and the devastating cost of believing that money and a fancy foreign accent can buy you out of your own family. When my daughter, Sarah, informed me that my inability to speak French made me unsuitable for her exclusive Paris ceremony, she didn't just insult me. She exposed the rot that her new, entitled life had cultivated, and she fundamentally misunderstood the source of the €150,000 she so casually expected me to provide. To understand the sheer magnitude of the snub and the surgical precision of my retaliation, you have to understand the journey of the Miller family, and specifically how Sarah transformed from my sweet, grounded daughter into a pretentious snob. I, Robert Miller, built my career brick by honest brick. I started a regional commercial plumbing supply company from the back of a rented warehouse, and over 30 years, I turned it into a profitable, no-nonsense enterprise that made me a multimillionaire. My hands are rough, my language is plain, and my priorities are loyalty and common sense. My wife, Susan, and I raised 2 kids. My son, David, who is a fantastic guy and now helps run the family business, and Sarah. Sarah was always the academic one, brilliant and ambitious. We invested everything in her education, sending her to the best schools, culminating in her acceptance to an elite European business program in Paris. That's where the transformation began. Paris didn't just give Sarah a degree. It gave her an air of intellectual and cultural superiority that eventually curdled into deep-seated disdain for her roots. She met Antoine, her fiancé, in France. Antoine comes from minor French aristocracy, a family with an old name, impeccable style, and, crucially, very little actual money. Antoine is a lovely guy, but he lives entirely on the prestige of his family name. Sarah quickly adopted their aristocratic airs. She started correcting my grammar, criticizing our home decor as provincial, and speaking to us mostly in French, even though we didn't understand her. She wasn't learning a culture, she was buying an identity. The wedding planning had been an agonizing 6 months of financial demands and cultural microaggressions. Sarah insisted that the wedding be held at a historic shate, outside of Paris. I was initially excited, ready to give my daughter the beautiful, expensive wedding she wanted. My condition was simple. Since I was paying the bulk of the costs, I expected about a third of the guests to be my side of the family, our close friends, my business partners, the people who helped me build the wealth that was funding this entire affair. Sarah begrudgingly agreed. The total budget for the venue, catering, and flowers alone was spiraling past $150,000, which I had promised to cover with a single, massive wire transfer due 1 month before the event. The real conflict began when I asked to see the finalized guest list and seating chart. I noticed my side of the family, about 50 guests, had been relegated to a separate, smaller annex room for the reception dinner, listed only for the later dancing. My close friends, the pillars of my community, were being treated like second-class citizens. When I confronted Sarah about it over a video call, she sighed dramatically, rolling her eyes. "Dad, don't be so dramatic. It's a space issue. A space issue," I repeated, looking at the elaborate seating plan that clearly had empty tables reserved for people I didn't recognize. "It looks like a status issue, Sarah. Why are you hiding the people who built the company that is paying for this wedding? Her voice hardened. The primary dining hall, the salle d'honneur is reserved for Antoine's family and our close Parisian friends. They understand the etiquette, the conversation, the ambience. She paused, then delivered the fatal blow with cruel, measured precision. Frankly, Dad, your friends, and honestly, you and Mom too, just don't fit. Their conversation is loud, and they will only speak English. It's embarrassing, Dad. This is a French wedding, a sophisticated event. Your lack of linguistic fluency will disrupt the flow. I stared at the screen, speechless. My own daughter had just told me I was too uncultured and too American to participate in the wedding I was bankrolling. The embarrassment she mentioned wasn't my lack of French. It was the fact that I existed as a reminder of the hard work and provincial roots she was desperately trying to escape. My wife, Susan, who was listening quietly, simply put her hand on my shoulder and squeezed. In that moment, the anger was cold, precise, and utterly clarifying. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I stood up, walked away from the camera, and came back holding my business checkbook. Sarah, I said, my voice steady, I want you to listen very carefully. I showed her the check, the large number clearly visible. This is $150,000, your payment for the the catering, and the ambience. It was scheduled to wire in 2 weeks, but if I am not welcome to share a dinner table with my daughter because I am an embarrassment who doesn't speak your language, then I have no obligation to pay for the privilege of being excluded. I tore the check into tiny pieces right on camera, letting the confetti of her dreams float down onto my desk. The payment is cancelled, Sarah. Since you have prioritized your French ambience over your family, you can now pay for that ambience yourself. Find a fluent speaker with $150,000 to cover your check to the goodbye. I hung up and immediately called my bank's international wire department to permanently flag any wire transfer request coming from her account. The phone exploded within minutes. Sarah was hysterical, Antoine was confused and apologetic, and the lawyer representing the was calling demanding payment. Sarah was desperate. She had already put down a non-refundable deposit of $15,000, which I had given her for initial planning, but the full $150,000 was due immediately. Without it, she would lose the venue and the deposit. The frantic calls began, switching from French to English in record time. So that's the situation I was in. I had delivered the ultimate financial shock, and her entire wedding was now teetering on the brink of collapse. Before I tell you what happened next, how I used that canceled payment to deliver a final, satisfying lesson in humility and cultural respect, I want you to pause right now and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have relented and paid the money just to avoid family drama? Or would you have held the line, using that money as leverage to force an apology and a reversal of the guest list? What would you have done? I held the line, but my strategy was not just punitive. It was constructive. My goal wasn't to destroy her wedding completely, but to destroy her snobbery and rebuild our relationship on a foundation of mutual respect. For 3 days, I ignored Sarah's frantic calls. My son, David, called, urging me to find a compromise, saying Sarah was crying non-stop. I told him, the compromise is simple, respect. Until she understands why she was wrong, the money stays here. I received a tearful, rambling text from Sarah, mostly blaming Antoine's family and the for the misunderstanding. not an apology. Finally, Antoine called. He was genuinely embarrassed and polite. He admitted that his family, who had no money, had been pushing for the guest list to be exclusively their people, for social leverage, and Sarah had caved, using the French language issue as a flimsy excuse to exclude us. He apologized sincerely, recognizing that he was about to lose the event entirely because of his family's pride and Sarah's pretension. It was Antoine's honesty that opened the door. I told him I would not restore the €150,000 payment for the Paris wedding. It was too late, and the lesson had to stick. But I offered a solution: cancel the *shate, lose the €15,000 deposit. Take that as the cost of snobbery. Then, Sarah needs to call me and issue a genuine, heartfelt apology, not a French one, but a simple, American apology from the heart, acknowledging her disrespect for our family. The real twist, the grand reversal, came next. I proposed that they hold a second wedding, a real wedding, on my terms, but paid for by me. I offered $100,000 to fund a spectacular local wedding reception at the largest ballroom in my hometown, complete with every one of my business partners and friends seated right at the main tables. This time, I told Antoine, the food will be American comfort food, the music will be Motown, and the language spoken will be English. My daughter will be married under the flag of the people who made her wealth possible. Sarah finally called. It was the hardest call of her life. She was sobbing, the pretentious veneer finally shattered by the sheer terror of losing the entire event and facing the wrath of Antoine's family. She didn't just apologize. She confessed how insecure she felt trying to keep up with the French elite, and how badly she had treated me. She finally admitted that she had been ashamed of our humble background. That was the apology I needed. The aftermath was glorious. Sarah and Antoine, now married in a small civil ceremony in France, flew back to the States for the real celebration. I didn't fund the *shate, our wedding, but I funded an even more spectacular one, the Miller family celebration of marriage. It was held in the largest, most opulent ballroom in our city. My entire community was there, mingling with Antoine's stunned Parisian relatives who had flown over expecting a tacky disaster. My friends were at the head table. The food was incredible, the band was legendary, and the toasts were heartfelt and loud. The best part, Antoine's family, who spoke no English, were forced to use Google Translate and hand gestures to communicate with my loud, happy English-speaking guests. They were the ones isolated, polite, and completely out of their element. It was a beautiful, karmic reversal. Sarah learned the most important lesson of her life. You can buy a Parisian veneer, but you can't buy genuine family connection or respect. She realized that the people who loved her weren't the ones who cared about her language fluency, but the ones who cared about her happiness and were willing to pay €100,000 to celebrate it on their own turf. She's now working with David in the family business, and she's found a way to use her French education to expand our sourcing in Europe, respecting both her past and her future. I never regretted tearing up that check. It cost me €150,000 to buy my daughter a lesson in humility, and honestly, it was the best investment I ever made. Like this video, if you think canceling the payment was the perfect way to teach a snob a lesson. Subscribe for more true stories about entitlement and spectacular financial revenge, and share your final thoughts on whether Sarah deserved the wedding cancellation in the comments section. I'll see you all in the next story.